Live from the heart of America, I'm Steve Gruber, ready to deliver an inclusive and diverse discussion on the most important topics of today, giving you better analysis and insight than anyone else, shining a spotlight on the cockroaches of the swamp and delivering truth and justice. And you're right, the American way when hope was fading. Here are three big things you need to know to start today. Number one, Joe Manchin is fighting back against his Democrat colleagues and the disastrous Inflation Reduction Act and says the law is not being followed. Shocking. Number two, the lights used to be on with nobody home, and now Joe Biden and Jennifer Granholm don't even want the lights on. No, they want light bulbs banned, illegal. It's coming soon. And number three, our nation is at a crossroads where rogue political hacks have replaced a nation of laws with a nation of partisan political attacks on their biggest opponents. And the media goes along, or not just goes along, but joins in cheerfully, despite knowing it's all a travesty. It is so serious that the entire Republican it stands here on the crosshairs of an execution at the hands of the socialists, the globalists, and the anti-American forces. I don't tell you this lightly. For the entire existence of America, we have avoided using the apparatus of government to destroy the politicians that we have as rivals. But today, as I return from vacation, a local district attorney has now turned nearly 250 years of history on its head. I'm on the way, as you know. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but I was disconnected from the news cycle for a while, and it felt good, but my disappointment in what I learned upon the cell phone hitting good reception again in the mountains of New Mexico was disheartening, to say the least. Alvin Bragg, a far-left activist, soft-on-crime DA funded by George Soros, that American-hating billionaire, by the way, ignoring the fact that the case had been examined by his predecessor, the Federal Election Commission, and the Department of Justice, and dismissed before everyone agreed there was not a case to be made over Donald Trump paying a woman to keep quiet about a possible one-night stand. It's called a non-disclosure agreement. So as I rolled through the mountains near the Pecos River outside of Santa Fe, some quotes came to mind. As I read this shocking report, here's one quote. Anyone who has the power to make you believe absurdities has the power to make you commit injustices. If you want to know who controls you, look at who you are not allowed to criticize. So long as the people do not care to exercise their freedom, those who wish to tyrannize will do so, for tyrants are active and ardent and will devote themselves in the name of any good number of gods, religious or otherwise, to put shackles upon sleeping men. Those three quotes come from Voltaire. Expected to hear about a gag order. Donald Trump announcing, by the way, here a short time ago, that he'll be leaving Mar-a-Lago noon today, traveling to Trump Tower in New York. On Tuesday morning, I will be going to, believe it or not, the courthouse. America was not supposed to be this way. Regardless of what you think about Donald Trump, he is exactly right about that. America was not supposed to be this way, and for the most part, America has not been this way until now. When the power-hungry, weak-willed, character-free Democrats, or the party formerly known as the Democrat Party, now the Socialist Party of America, has decided to use the apparatus of government and the intelligence community and the levers of power to crush political rivals. We're also told to expect a gag order, making it a criminal act for Donald Trump to complain about the outrageous nature of the partisan charges. So how about a few more quotes? The right to free speech is more important than the content of the speech. So said Voltaire. But there are other great voices, like a legendary American that also came to mind, Thomas Paine. How about some quotes from him today to remind you of the greatness of America and what it's supposed to mean? Here we go. To argue with a person who has renounced the use of reason is like administering medicine to the dead. A body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody ought not to be trusted by anybody. Let me say that one again. A body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody not to be trusted by anybody. That is our government. That is our Biden administration today. Accountable to no one, should not be trusted by anyone. None of us. And the greatest tyrannies are always perpetrated and perpetuated in the name of the noblest causes. The greatest tyrannies are always perpetuated in the name of the noblest causes. Those from Thomas Paine. I want those to marinate for a few minutes. And I want you to realize that Alvin Bragg, who has consistently allowed violent felons back on the streets of New York City to kill and maim more citizens by routinely dropping felony charges to misdemeanors, has decided in this case to ignore the statute of limitations and contort a misdemeanor of changing business filings into a felony by use of some magical legal theory that basically assumes anything that Donald Trump has ever done must be a crime. Anything that Donald Trump's ever done must be a crime. That's the magical legal theory being applied here. There's nothing more here. So let's hear from the people, shall we? How about a former Supreme Court clerk? He rips the left for hating the Constitution, which clearly they do. Listen.
Well, I mean, this is not our parents' or grandparents' Democrat Party anymore. These are not liberals who love America and believe and, just disagree with conservatives on the best way to get there. These are leftists. These are Marxists. These are people who don't believe in equality. They believe in equity. They don't believe in free speech. They believe in censorship. They don't believe in due process. They believe in Me Too. We saw this same mindset that Nancy Pelosi is talking about during the Kavanaugh confirmation with Me Too, that if you merely make an allegation against someone, even if it's 30 years ago when they're a teenager, they're guilty. And even if they prove their innocence, they're still guilty. This just shows the Democrats have politicized and weaponized our justice system to go after their political enemies. And they're showing that very clearly with Soros-funded Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's political prosecution against President Trump.
Bang. Exactly right. We're going to dig deeper into this in the days to come. Obviously, today is a big day. A very big day. Because Donald Trump is traveling from Mar-a-Lago to New York. And then tomorrow he'll be in court. We don't know the contents of the indictment, and we may not know. They may do two things, this court, to shield themselves from the criticism that they righteously deserve, and rightly deserve as well. And that is this. We don't know what's in the indictment. A couple of dozen charges were told. Business charges were told. We don't believe that the president, the former President Donald Trump, will be allowed to speak about it, or his attorneys. A gag order and not knowing what's in the indictments. Sealed indictments and a gag order. Oh, yes. No better way to run a banana republic than in the dark, in secrecy. Right? That's what we've got going on. Oh, it's good to be back from vacation. Here to talk about how it's going to work. By the way, I think it all gets thrown out. I don't think this case goes anywhere, and I think it strengthens Donald Trump in the end. Makes him a stronger candidate for president. We'll talk about that after the break. Good to be back. I'm Steve Gruber. This is The Steve Gruber Show.